This is Justin from the band WRISTMEETRAZOR, and you're listening to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast.
The Metal Teddy Bear Experience has begun.
Welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. This is your host, Chris. We got my boy, Jesse. What's up, man? How you doing?
Yo, what's up, guys? How's it going?
We have a special guest this week on this episode 43, vocalist and bassist Justin of WRISTMEETRAZOR. What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm good. Just kind of doing the COVID thing.
Yeah, no, I got you right there. I mean, it's been weird. Have you got vaccinated, anything like that? Staying at home? What have you been up to?
I haven't been vaccinated, but have done a lot of staying at home. So that is the COVID thing, I think.
So
it's not doing anything.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so has that been like hard for you? I mean, you guys play a lot of shows, you're always on the move. Has it been like really hard for your band? Is it hard for you personally?
I mean, yeah, for me personally, it's been a change, because we went from touring 100 to 200 shows a year to 0 shows a year. I think we've kept busy, so there's been plenty to do, but it's still been challenging.
Well, yeah, you guys are about to put out a brand new record on June 11th, Replica
Right.
of Strange Love, Prosthetic Records. This is going to be your sophomore record with Prosthetic. How excited are you for that?
Very excited. Very, very excited. The majority of this past year has been nonstop work on this, so we're happy for it to finally be out.
You said this was done during 2020, during the whole pandemic. You wrote this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you guys get together at all? Was this all done separately, virtually? How was it done?
So we were fortunate enough that the pre-pro for this all happened in February, so it was a little bit before everything. So we did get together. The record is produced by our friend Isaac Hale, who plays guitar and sings in a band called Knocked Loose.
Oh,
and so we went up to rural Kentucky in February and spent like a little over a week with him pre-proing all of the tracks. And so we had all the pre-pros, and then once COVID really started, after that it became a whole new logistical nightmare of trying to figure out how to record the thing and shoot the videos and all that, but we made it all work.
Dude, that's sick. I mean, you put out a brand new song, Last Tango in Paris, with Isaac. I mean, that's awesome. How'd you guys meet?
We've known Isaac for a real long time. Our drummer Brian lives in Louisville, so he's known Isaac from going to shows for years. I've met Isaac through booking Knocked Loose for years as well. I've known him for at least 5-6 years now, and I think we've all known him for a long time. And he took interest in the band because we've been a band for like 3-4 years now, and he took interest in the band after the last record. And so we were fortunate enough to be able to make something like this work, where he could have a hand in the process. And this is his first record that he's produced in full, so we were real lucky and fortunate to be able to have him on board for that.
Is he guest on any other tracks, or just that one?
No, he's only guest on the one track, but he I guess little known fact that hasn't really been discussed yet, but he tracked all the bass on the record as well. Even though I played with the bass live, but he tracked it all on the record, so he's very intimate with the process of what's going on here.
Oh, cool. Any particular reason why?
I felt like he was going to do a better job than me. That's pretty much it.
Okay. It's him from Knocked Loose, so it makes sense. There's a lot of people that use like extra guys for like the producers and the mixer. I remember there was Josh Wilbur. I remember he was laying down some tracks too when he was helping out like Trivium, Lamb of God. I don't know if it actually made the record, but you saw him jamming there behind the session videos.
Right. And I played bass for like 15-16 years now, so it wasn't like something where I felt I had some sort of like dire need to track bass, especially because I wrote all of the lyrics and all of the patterns and then set all of those up. To me, that felt much more important this time around than having some sort of, instrumental ownership or something like that. I don't really feel that kind of itch.
That's pretty cool because usually egos are crazy and people like the thought of someone else doing their parts. It's really cool that like you let them do that. Like I've heard so many stories where people are like, yeah, they redid. My ego was crazy and they redid my parts when I wasn't there. Like I've heard producers do that for like drummers. They're like, oh, you're great, man. See ya. All right, bring another guy in. We'll redo that. Just tell him we did.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I think for this record especially, I feel very strongly that everything we did needed to serve the song. And I thought, he's a great musician and a great instrumentalist. And we, we're fortunate to have him in the production part of it. So it seemed like a natural thing to have him play bass too. I play all the bass live. So it really, to me, there wasn't a big disconnect between the two. But yeah, I think it adds, I think everything adds a different flavor to the record too. So it worked.
Especially getting all that experience behind like Isaac, for how long Knock Loose has been doing things.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
No, he's been writing music a long time too. He's always been a guy that I think all of us, look up to as a musician. So, his input is very, it holds a lot of weight.
So what else did he do in the studio? I mean, given that this is one of his first like fully produced records, did he try anything different or anything like that?
I wouldn't say he tried anything different per se. I mean, a lot of the stuff in the studio was kind of a group kind of thing when it came to, different effects and kind of how the finished product turned out and stuff like that, and different ways of using samples and the whole finished product thing as opposed to the pre-pro thing where it's a lot more on the minutia of the record than it is the meat and potatoes of it, which you already wrote. So he had some little things with that, but I think we all kind of talked about it and we all kind of went back and forth on it, and that's how the pre-pro was too, honestly. In the pre-pro sessions, like there was never any moment where it was like one of us was doing all the work. Like we had lots of ideas, and it kind of took all five of us to create the finished product in a way that I think turned out the way that it did.
Also, that kind of explains something. I ran through a bunch of the songs in your guys' discography. I noticed there's a lot of different sound, especially like two singles, especially. I thought like a lot of your songs, they have a lot of different feels, different vocal stylings. Is that kind of what lends it to it? It's like not one person is just laying all the music down?
In a way, yeah, in a way for sure. I think bigger than that even is that we don't want to be that band that's so easily pigeonholed into one thing. Like we're not really a band that that I think would settle with one sound or one kind of thing. So it works that this is kind of how it's going down, but I don't think that we would be happy any other way.
Which is great because sometimes just like you get pigeonholed. It's like, that metalcore band, that hardcore band, slam band, they're great. It's like, oh great, we only get that tour. Awesome.
Right, exactly. And you like only get to do certain things and people expect things out of you. And that's one of the worst things ever is when people have very set expectations for you and then you have to meet that in one genre. And then when you don't, like when bands have one sound and then all of a sudden they change their sound, everyone hates it because they were expecting something else. But when you're a band that, kind of isn't easily pigeonholed into one thing, the expectations are that you're going to do something interesting. So I feel much more that's something I'm much more equipped at delivering.
Yeah, kind of like Dillinger. Dillinger had to go through that, like after like Calculated Infinity. Everyone's like, yeah, this is what you do, right? It's like, nah, wait for these R&B type lyrics on like 2 hours from now. It's like, what? It's like, are you kidding me?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And those are like all my favorite bands have always been like that too. They've never really been like pigeonholed into one kind of genre, and then when they have the opportunity to do more, then they do more. They do everything possible, and I think I've always really looked up to bands that did that. So
Yeah, especially because you can go back to the old albums anyways. Like it's like if they are
Right.
that bad, it's like, well, still have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, personally, do you think that you guys changed some? Like, I mean, you guys put out 2 EPs, a first studio album, and a sophomore. How much do you think you guys have changed? Do you guys feel like you've changed a lot, or no?
Yeah, undeniably. We've I I think when the band started, there was much less expectation as to what it was going to be. There was no real plan for it, to be honest with you. Like there wasn't like a thing where we were like, we're gonna do this and then we're gonna do this and like we're gonna get signed and we're gonna do this. Like there wasn't, we didn't expect there to be hype. We didn't really expect there to be much. We just kind of created the record we wanted to create. And at that time, it was definitely more of like a screamo metalcore record, and that's what we wanted to do. And I think originally the idea was that we would, maybe do a couple weekend tours and maybe play a fest in the US, and then that would be it. And then maybe we'd break up or something like that. And then when it caught on a little bit more, it felt like in order for the band to be what it needed to be, it would probably have to continue to evolve. And, we added new players along the way. And this is the first record that we've had a second guitarist for, because the first record we only had one guitarist on. So the evolution's been very natural as far as what was going to happen instrumentally on it. Lyrically, the records have just kind of followed whatever felt to reflect us the best. I wrote all the lyrics on this one, but Jonah and I shared the lyrical duties on the last LP. So those were split to a certain degree. These are all me. So there's been a different aspect added in for that too.
Well, it's funny too, because Jonah started this as a solo project, right?
Yeah. He started it, and basically the day after he put it online, and the day after he put it online, it didn't really have there wasn't any details to it. Like, he didn't say it was a solo project or anyone was in it. I just kind of figured it out on my own, if that makes sense. And then I messaged him about it, and it's been, history ever since. We've just kept going.
And with the lyrics, because you co-wrote them, you said the last record.
Yeah.
Maybe you took some input from like that writing style from before. Is this record, like the lyrics on this record, reflect you, or are you able to take energy from the band and kind of reflect what everybody in the band wants to reflect in lyrics? Or is this more like the music is a band like journey, but like the lyrics is all you? Oh, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm kind of
No, that makes total sense. That's an interesting question. I don't think anyone's ever asked that before.
There we go. One
Yeah.
for the podcast. One for the podcast.
I think very uniquely, the lyrics are a personal experience kind of thing. They're a personal reflection. And I think even from the very beginning, Jonah and I had different styles. We've always seen things in different lights, but there's certain places where we correspond. And I felt like on the last record, on Misery Never Forgets, that worked in a certain way. And I think people can see that there's almost like a yin and yang to the record at times, because I wouldn't say it's necessarily positive, but there's some pseudo positive glimpses into the record. And this one, which is all me, takes a much more reflective and introspective look at a lot of where the band has been. The record's much more, I would say the record is much more hopelessly nihilistic, whereas the other ones maybe had a romanticism about them, a kind of hopeful romanticism. So
super interesting. Awesome. Yeah, because it's always that hard thing, because also everyone has their own vocal style. Those bands that write all personal stuff. There's people that write about, politics or outward, like world stuff. Like Gojo writes about
Whales.
the trees and whales and shit. Like,
right.
Everyone's got their own thing. It's hard. That's why I was kind of curious, because it's really hard to take, like you said, it's personal. It's hard to take, like, what is Todd thinking? It's like, I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah. I think we're very, very fortunate in that we're all similar into what the band, like the ultimate goal of the band is. And so I think when the other guys in the band read my lyrics, I think that they relate to them in different ways. And I would hope that to a certain extent, it's a similar experience that I would have with the audience. Like you and the audience have a weird personal experience when you're voicing your life experiences to them, and they can relate it back to themselves. I think to various extents the band does that too, and they have their own kind of like their own individual moments with the record where they can also relate to it, and to that extent when they're playing it they feel like it's speaking for them as well. So, and that's what I've kind of gathered, at least.
It's the best part of lyrics, man. When it hits you, it's not just something you're just saying. I'm like, yes, that's what makes me come back.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I agree.
It's great that you guys still have that connection, that bond too, because you see some bands who, when they start out, they have it, and then they slowly, move apart. Like I think one of the big bands you could talk about that is System of a Down right now. You keep hearing them in the news constantly before they can agree on lyrics, and now, two people in the band, or at least one at least one half of the band, they do not agree at all.
Right. Yeah. No. That's an interesting thing too, because I feel like as you grow and get older, sometimes the expectations of what your lyrics are going to be might actually be harder to deliver on, because for System of a Down or a band like that, like they've been writing those lyrics for what, 20-25 years now, and it's hard to feel the same way that you did at 20 as that you do at like 45. So
yep.
I can kind of sympathize with how fractured that must be and how difficult that must be to continue to live up to that for them.
Corey Taylor said that too, when people are like, oh, your sound changed, like with the solo record, like, what is this? And he's like, I'm not the 20-year-old kid I was when we put out our debut album,
Right.
Like, I'm not that angsty teenager anymore. I kind of have different feelings now.
Right, exactly. And it's weird that, and I understand to a certain extent when you're a fan, but like it's weird to have those expectations for people and just expect them to be the same person forever. Like you memorialize them as a child and then they have to be that forever. It's a strange expectation, I think.
Well, you also got, I think, because I have some friends who like really kind of maybe not ignorant about music, but like they kind of forget that not everyone cares about music.
Mm-hmm.
So like some people it's sound in the car, some people it's taking a shower. Like me, I look at news, I play drums. It's like it's a part of my life, even though I'm not a touring band or like, and then obviously to you, music is a totally big part of your life, obviously. It's like some people just like pop in to listen to Slipknot and they kind of forget like, oh yeah, like that's why rich bands like start writing shitty lyrics most of the time, because their life is completely different. All they know is like
right.
Metallica, all they know is get on the tour bus and having their second stage set go to the venue before them to set up. Where it's like, yeah, where they used to drink behind an alley probably when they first started and like talk about it. It's like, yeah, that's why things change. It's hard to write, especially like Corey Taylor. He was like crazy into drugs and shit, and now he's sober. Like that's a whole different life.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite Corey Taylor story from like the late 90s, early 2000s was that he had like this really weird like piss fetish, and he would have like a room full of strippers piss on him.
There you go.
I felt like that that kind of Corey Taylor sounds like the guy that would write the first two Slipknot records.
Yeah.
So I can understand the evolution there.
That's
because when you're not that guy anymore,
Dude, I'm a huge fan of Slipknot and Corey Taylor. I never heard that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's true, to be honest with you. That might be completely
factual.
false.
We're writing the article now.
It was a great internet rumor at the time. So
yeah, dude, that's crazy.
That'd be great though if they asked like, why don't you write Iowa again? I'm not really into piss anymore. That's why I can't really write. Just like it's kind of gross. I know it like sterilizes you, but I'm kind of over it.
All right, so we have a nice little segment we like to call fan questions. We ask a couple people, and they have some questions for you. So you ready for question number one?
Sure.
All right, what's your favorite emo violence album?
My favorite emo violence album. I mean, that's an interesting question, because that is like a genre, is a very kind of hazy kind of thing. I would say if I had to pick one album that would be my favorite of that, I'll go with the Neil Perry Orchid Split. I think that one's great.
Would you consider your like Wrist Meets Razor as emo violence?
Uh, maybe at some point we were, but I don't think we are anymore.
Yeah, it's always interesting to actually hear what the band thinks of their genre sound, because like you ask people, they're like, "I'm not new metal, I'm not metalcore," you know, like Mudvayne's like, "We're math rock," and it's like what's going on? You know what I mean?
Well, Chris Adler of
Yeah.
Lamb of God said they were speed metal, which is like, no, you're not. But yeah, whatever you say, like,
Yeah.
Right.
It's like also bands don't even care about, like, I don't really care about genre. Like I know the big couple, but then it's like at some point I'm like, but then you got people on forums like dissecting everything. It's like, well, this chord actually was used in the late 90s. It's like, no, wait, do they even know that though? It's like, are they just making music?
Right. Yeah. I think people become students of the genres and then try to like utilize that knowledge to feel better than people sometimes. That comes out.
Random
I
a
don't
few
know
of
if
those
you-
people at concerts. Oof.
Yeah.
I like this band. They're kind of old though because of this, and they're simplistic. I'm like, dude, I just said I like them. Like, I don't know why you're hitting me. This is like, holy crap.
I don't know if you read YouTube comments at all, but there was at least 3 videos where I saw that you guys they're like, these guys are revitalizing the metalcore scene. When you see something like that, what do you think?
I mean, it's flattering, but it's kind of, when it comes from a YouTube comment, it kind of has to be taken with a grain of salt. I can never tell who's making fun of us and who isn't on there. I try not to read them, but
Okay.
it is flattering. I appreciate it.
If it was like an album review from like Blabbermouth or something like that, would you look at it differently?
I mean, I would probably read into the context of it a little bit more. But I mean, it's always a compliment, but at the same time, it's a strangely like hollow kind of sentiment, if that makes sense. Like,
Well, cages you kind of, right? When you like,
yeah, metalcore's been around for so long. Like, I don't think we're necessarily bringing anything back, but I appreciate anyone that would think that.
Gotcha. Second question is favorite post-rock album.
Favorite post-rock album?
Yep.
I'm gonna go with I'll go with you know what, actually I'm gonna go with Mammoth by the band Pelican. I think that's my favorite post-rock album.
Okay, nice. Yeah. And this one's kind of like a 2-parter. What's your favorite basement show and tour?
My favorite basement show. Well, I think my favorite basement spot to play at is in Milwaukee. It's at a guy named JJ's house, and they just call it JJ's. But it's very cool. It's like the guy sets up the PA and like has like pretty good sound, has a cool setup, and like I don't know. It's one of those basement venue kind of places where it feels as close to a venue as a house can feel, and I like those. So that would probably be my favorite basement. Was my favorite tour? Is that what the second question was?
Yeah.
My favorite tour. That's another tough one. That we've done so many like kind of cool tours. I think maybe my favorite tour was with See You Space Cowboy. We did in
Nice.
2019. That was, I think, one of our more enjoyable ones.
Those guys took off too now. I've been seeing them a lot on like metal blogs, like the more mainstream metal blogs, you know?
Right. Yeah. They're good friends of ours. So it's definitely been cool to see.
And the last one for fan questions. Would you rather play big festivals like Heavy Montreal or Vakken, stuff like that? Small venues like if you're around here in New York City at Gramercy or something like that, or more like basement shows?
I think each has its own charm and its own elements. I think if we had one choice of a thing that we could do right now, it would be to play festivals, because it's not necessarily something that's we've done a lot. So it's always the allure of the next thing, and that would be awesome.
Okay, so this one I actually had a question about too. You know, you guys were a very successful DIY band. You guys were getting a lot of like, you know, jump, you know, I remember hearing about you guys on like forums and stuff like that. My friends would talk about you. And then you guys signed with Prosthetic. Was that a hard decision for you guys to sign with a label, or like how do you feel?
I don't think it was necessarily a hard decision. It was interesting in the moment when we signed it, because I think we were very taken aback by the fact that they wanted to sign us, mostly because I don't think we didn't feel like we were the kind of band that would sign to a record label like Prosthetic, which is more of a metal label. And at the time, we were virtually only a screamo band. We only had the 2 EPs out, and on top of that, we'd only played about 6 to 9 shows, period, like as an entirety of our band. So I think we were a little more taken aback by it, but we liked the opportunity. Like I said, we've always kind of like been a band that's wanted to continue to progress, and so that seemed like the best opportunity that we had to really move the band.
How much have you seen like a difference? I'm sure there's like a, huge difference when the label's backing you. But personally, how do you guys feel now being with the label for like, I don't know, 3 years now?
It's great. Labels, I think labels get a bad rap in like the underground music scene, but I think the biggest part of that, of having a record label behind you, is that you have, first of all, you have a group of people that are willing to vouch for you. You have a PR kind of team that helps out a lot, and then the money, the budgets are the big thing, because like we don't, like, the reality is that like it's expensive to record a record. Like, it's really expensive, and it's something that we couldn't just pay for out of our pocket, really. We feasibly could, but like the process of being able to afford stuff like the amount of recording that we do would be hard. It wouldn't be an easy thing for us to just pay for. So the fact that we have a record label that is willing to put that in for us and kind of like help, it goes a long way in the creative process, I think.
Yeah, how many more years do you guys have signed on to your deal? Or album
We have
cycles, I should say.
this album, and then we have one more, and then I'm not sure. I think that's the end of this current deal that we have.
Well, I'm glad to hear that everything's working out with you. I know some bands, when they sign on to a label for the first time, they kind of get screwed over. They don't own their stuff. They get like in debt. It's a really bad situation for you, but it sounds like everything's going well.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have our own publishing and stuff like that. Like that aspect of it isn't like the most critical for us, and I like the fact that Prosthetic doesn't put a ton of pressure on us for like sales quotas and stuff like that. Like certain bands definitely have a lot more stressful situations than we do, and I feel like we have a lot more room to just do what we do, which I like a lot.
And do you feel like being a DIY band for a while before this helped you guys make like a sober decision and not just get like waved in by the shiny lights and the things, like, because a lot of people are like, oh, look at all this money we can get, and they just sign away all their masters or some crazy down the road where it's like, no, you guys aren't even a band, we basically own you. It's like, this sucks. Like, we should have definitely read that contract. It's like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, I think that helps. I think that helps a lot, having the foresight to know that we can do a lot of this on our own, and we did. I mean, like, recorded the records. I used to book all of our tours, all of our shows. Like, we were our own band for a long time. So I think like the reality there is again, it costs a lot of money to record a record, and we had already written Misery Never Forgets. It was already written before we got signed, but we were trying to figure out how we were going to put it out. And the other reality there is that a lot of the small DIY labels are not going to pay for you to record. They don't have that kind of money. Like, they can pay to print your record. They can put like $1,500 in to print 100 records for you, but like they aren't gonna give you the 10 grand or whatever for travel arrangements and to go record a good record. So like the deal was that getting on Prosthetic really elevated the band to the next level in a way that nothing else would have, really.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, we have another segment on the show we like to call Get
Sure.
to Know the Band, and now we're going to get to know Wrist Meets Razor. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and you're going to tell me which member best fits the bill. So question
Sure.
number one, who's the funny guy in the group? Who's the funny guy on tour? Who makes everyone laugh?
I think Jonah and Brian both share that. They both are the funny guys.
Do they quote movies? Are they just funny on their own? They're witty?
Probably a little bit of all of it, honestly. They just take a very lighthearted approach to, touring and stuff. So it helps. They definitely are much more lighthearted.
Are they the pranksters too?
Yeah, Brian really loves to play odds. So I don't know if you're aware of what that is, but he loves to play odds, and usually that creates some great stories.
What's that? I'm not familiar.
Well, in a nutshell, it is a game where you pick a number, just any number, between a predetermined set of numbers based on how much or how little you want to do something. So someone tells you to do something, and then you give them a number, and then you have to pick, you and the other person picks a number between 1 and whatever that number is, and that number is supposed to delineate how much or little you want to do it. So if you chose 50, it would be that you didn't want to do it at all. But if you chose 5, it's that you didn't care if you did it or not. And usually the odds are for bad things. It's like a dare, but it's like a bad dare. It's like a dare that you would never want to do. Usually, most people don't do that unless they have something really disgusting or outrageous. But he lost that about a year or two ago. So now he's 1 in 4 odds for life. So no matter what anyone says, he has to say 4. And
okay.
He loses a lot. He loses almost every time, actually.
I've actually heard about that
shit.
game. I didn't know it was called that. There was like a story with hockey players. They said they used to do it whenever they would travel, whatever. And usually it was something embarrassing. Like if there was a bunch of girls at a table, they would have to do something like, chug something and do something crazy. Yeah, I didn't know it was called odds though. That's good to know now.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's at least what we've called it. So
yeah,
but it might have different names. That's what we've called it. It's pretty crazy. I don't play personally. So
is there any ones you like to share? Like one that happened?
I'm gonna say no. There isn't.
What stays on tour happens on tour, or happens on tour stays on tour.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not sure if that the public should know. That maybe they'll be lucky enough to witness one day.
Hear it. Okay, who's the complainer on tour or in the band? Who's the guy who's most likely to complain about something?
That's probably me. I'm probably the complainer.
Is it like a joking fashion, or are you actually upset about things?
No, it's probably a little bit of both, because I think that's part of my sense of humor. But also, when things go wrong, I'll pretty much call out whoever it's about, or if it's just something in general, I'll usually call it out. Everyone else in the band is fairly low key and quiet, so it makes sense that it would be me.
There you go. Also, you need one of those people too, because sometimes it's like me, it takes me a long time to go, okay, what the fuck? I'm just like,
Right.
for the love of God, can we get this done? What happened?
Right, yeah.
And it's like, sometimes that's how you have shit just not get done. It's like, you need someone to do it.
Yeah.
It's always fun to have that guy too that's just gonna make fun of an event just to make everyone else laugh. So what's with it raining right now and stuff like that, and you're just complaining about it, you're making fun of it, complaining about the rain, but you're making everyone laugh while doing it.
Yeah. No, that is also definitely something that I'm into, that more self-deprecating humor, which adds into that as well. So
My boy Jess over here too.
I'm man. It's the best.
All right, who's the guy most likely to be found sleeping?
That would definitely be Jonah, our guitar player. He legitimately, and this is without even making much of a hyperbolic statement, he sleeps somewhere between 12 and 16 hours every single day. And we'll get in the van and start driving, and he falls asleep instantly and sleeps the entire drive, in every drive.
So he's never the
Like,
driver.
no, he's never the driver.
Damn.
He's always asleep. And well, I mean, and at that point, he's almost kind of a narcoleptic, so I'm not sure we'd want him to drive.
Yeah, right. I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
But
It's like the
but
goal.
ultimately- yeah, but ultimately he gets the best deal because of that. Because if you can sleep for 16 hours a day, I mean, if I could sleep 16 hours a day, I would do that too. So
I guess when you're in a like if you're on one of those trips where you go into like upstate Canada or something like that, you know what I mean, and it's like a 10-hour drive, works perfectly.
oh yeah, I mean, he does it even on 3-hour drives. Like he's good on all. He'll fall asleep on any drive. It's the car, I think. I don't know, and maybe to a certain extent that's a compliment. Maybe it's maybe it means that our van has a real smooth ride or something.
Yeah, right. It's like there was a comedian who talked about it being like a time warp or whatever. It's like, yeah, you fall asleep, you wake up, it's a whole new day, a whole new time. It's like instant too, because it doesn't feel like you slept that long, you know.
Right.
The comedian delivered it much better than I did.
No, that's exactly actually how he delivered it. It was a laugh riot the way he said it.
Oh shit. Okay, who's the most energetic or enthusiastic in the band?
That's I don't know. Maybe that's me too. We are a fairly low key band as far as that goes, and none of us drink or do drugs or anything like that. We're all straight edge, so we don't have that added element to the band, which I think would probably figure out who the most energetic was. But maybe it's me. I'm usually the loudest and the most outspoken. So
Sweet. And final one is, who's the mom and dad in the group? Who's the guy who tries to like wrangle everyone together, get them to be on schedule, that kind of thing?
that's definitely also me. I'm the dad for sure. I'm the band dad. Always have been.
Okay,
we
so
go.
yeah, you need that guy in the group. It's like, guys, we're gonna miss our show. We're gonna miss this. We got to get to here. Yeah, no, I get it.
Right.
You got all the good ones though. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
'Cause a funny guy could be funny, but sometimes it just goes a little too far. It's just like
Who-
funny
yeah.
guy. Stop being funny right now.
Yeah,
This
it's
is an
like-
awful situation.
It's like he could be
Yeah.
the embarrassment in the band too.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a funny guy in a very, very bad situation trying to make a joke when everything is falling apart. It falls on deaf ears so quickly.
Yeah.
yeah, that guy. I
know.
don't know if I pointed to him correctly, but yeah,
I know.
Jesse right there.
I hate it. I'm like, oh shit, I'm out of my element. I don't know what to do. Here.
Remember that
Like,
time you
everyone's
forgot your
kinda crying.
age?
Oh yeah. I did. Yeah, I really looked like a complete asshole. I was like, oh, let's just try not to make this cop angry. And he's just asking me questions. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Basically, I was like, uh-oh. And I just kept annoying him. I was like, man, I hope you don't get like, I'm gonna get this guy a ticket. It's not me. So I guess I can't really complain.
Okay, and final segment we have on the show is called the Random Silly Questions segment. Ask you 3 random questions. You ready?
Sure, let's go.
All right. Question number 1: if you could take this album and make it into a movie, who would you get to star in it, actor or actress?
If to make this album as a movie,
Yeah, Replica with
I
Strange
would-
Love.
I would get Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks and Blue Velvet to be the actor in it. And for the actress, we'll go someone classic. We'll go let's go with Audrey Hepburn, because I feel like that's weird enough that would be the strangest mix about all time.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I mean, when you said classic, I just thought of Meryl Streep, because I always feel like
Yeah.
she's always the one winning awards and stuff like that.
Or Betty
She's
White
also
because
a
she's
classic.
literally the oldest.
Who?
Betty White because she's
Yeah.
literally the oldest.
Yeah, right.
She might be considered classic because she's 100 years old. Like, holy crap.
All right. Question number 2: what was the last thing you Googled?
The last thing I Googled.
You can look it up if you
pro-
need to.
It was probably the show, honestly. I
Oh,
probably
really?
Googled the show. Yeah.
Yeah, probably don't do that next time. For sure. Okay. All right, that's good. You got
Yeah.
to click.
All right. Question number 3: have you seen the movie The Hangover?
Yes.
Okay, so if the movie is recasted using the band members of WRISTMEETRAZOR, I'm sorry, dude. Which actor or character would correlate?
Oh man, now you're gonna make me try to remember the characters in that.
Well-
I haven't seen that in a long
Well,
time.
Bradley Cooper was Phil. He was, the main
Right.
guy. You had Ed
Right.
Helms, who was Stu, the dentist. Zach
Yeah.
Galifianakis was Alan. Justin
So-
Bartha was Doug, who got stuck on the roof, and Ken
Right.
Jeong was Mr. Chow.
Ah, that's right. So Zach Galifianakis would definitely be Jonah, our guitar player. Ed Helms would probably be Tyler, our other guitar player.
Did he get a face tattoo yet?
No, he didn't get a face tattoo yet, but he could be wrangled into that because he's very innocent. Who was some of the other? Now
Bradley
I can't even remember.
Cooper, Phil, the main
Yeah,
guy.
and then Phil, I would say, was probably Brian, our drummer, and then I would be Mr. Chow. So,
Oh, there we go.
There you go. See, I thought maybe you were gonna be Phil because you said that you're the kind of like the dad of the group, trying to get everyone together.
yeah, you know, I want it to be a little bit more, keep everyone on their toes a little bit more. So, yeah.
There you go. And I gotta ask, when you Googled the show name, were you like, "What the fuck is this? The Metal Teddy Bear Experience?" Or were you just confused?
Oh, I wanted to see what kind of stuff y'all did, and so I liked it.
All right, good.
I thought I was going to be on the radio, so I was excited about that for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Yeah.
Just let him down. Oh, Chris, pull some strings. We didn't curse that much.
Yeah,
Not
no, I
bad.
do 2 shows. I do one radio based and one podcast based, you know. So my bad. But dude, I'll gladly have you on for the radio show next time.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm
Yeah.
into it.
All right. Before we let you go, is there any touring updates? I know everything's kind of low key right now, but do you have any like plans for live streams, stuff like that?
No live stream plans yet. We are no live stream or touring plans yet that I can really talk about, but we are definitely going to hit that as soon as humanly possible. Right now, we're burning through the first press of our record at www.wristmeetrazor.com. So if you're trying to buy that, I would suggest getting on that now before that first press is up, and then we'll on to the second one.
Replica of a Strange Love out June 11th on Prosthetic Records. Everyone pick it up right now. And what's the best way to support you guys too? I know you guys have a Bandcamp. Is it better to stream their album or buy the vinyl? Which one is better for you guys?
You can do anything. I think we put a lot of effort into the vinyl. So if you like the record, if you stream it and you like it, I would say buy the record and check out kind of like where we were going with it artistically, because I think it's a treat for anyone that likes the band.
Cool. Well, Justin, man, this was a pleasure, man. Like I said before, you're always welcome back on the pod and on the radio. So thank you, man. I appreciate it.
We'll get you on the radio for sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience podcast right now. Your host, Chris. We got my co-host, Jesse. What's up, dude?
What's up? How's it going?
Hope you guys liked our interview with Justin of WRISTMEETRAZOR.
Yeah.
Replica of a Strange Love out June 11th on Prosthetic Records. Hope you guys like their sophomore debut. It's not really a debut if it's a sophomore record, but anyway, it was a pleasure. Jesse, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought he was really awesome. Thought it was super fun to talk to.
It's like, what are you going to say to that? Like, nah, he sucked. It's like,
honestly, if I'm being honest and I'm really cutting the Hollywood shit, I thought he kind of blew. But, you know, besides, no, he was really good. It was cool talking to him. Seemed like a down-to-earth dude.
Yeah.
Also, because we did that, it was an audio-only interview, so we didn't see his face. So that was a cool little thing. I'm not used to that. You know, I don't do radio, so I'm not used to interviewing people without a face. So that was something to get used to. And but I thought it was pretty cool. And again, he was really fun to talk to. So
yeah, like during the interview, you know, because it's only audio, like you're still staring at the name, because me and Jesse still had our cameras on and stuff like that, and we're just like, staring at the name. I'm like, why am I staring at his name? Literally the letters of his name the whole time too. But no, it was a fun time, and it's cool to have a band on that's like really known in the DIY scene, so we can ask him about like, you know, that type of time period, that like, you know, environment, community, all that stuff, and then we could actually ask him about being like a sign band. And I liked how he, you know, gave us the contrast for it.
Yeah, it was really cool. And also because actually, I really have nothing. I don't know what the because. It was just really cool. And also, I will say, going through their music alone, like I said in the podcast, it's interesting. Like, they don't really have a staple sound. I feel like they move and they mutate to what they, like he said, like they want to make. They don't really put a label on it. And I think that's cool as shit because a lot of people try to do that and they fail miserably. And it's kind of because that's what everyone wants. Like no one just likes death metal. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of people that like just death, but most people like me, when I was in high school, in my head, I was like, I want to make this band. I'd be listening to Protest Hero. Like I want to make Protest Hero. I want to make every time I die. I want to make Lamb of God. I want to like every day was a different band. I want to be in a hardcore band because I would just want to see the energy. It's like because like and I feel like a lot of people are like that. It'd be weird to like, but then you like most people like lockdown. It's like you need a brand identity, you need a sound. Like I remember I try to make one band and we were really focused on that. And I was kind of like, why don't we? And we made a song. I was like, this doesn't really fit our brand. And I was like, this sucks. I like that song. Can we just play it? And then
I feel like
happens.
it's so hard as a bit when you're in the beginning and you're just trying to write music and jam to get a brand going. Yeah. You got to jam out and make a bunch of songs to figure out what works, what doesn't, and where you want to go from it. I feel like you can't just like, all right, this is our brand. Let's go that way because it's never going to work. It's like, well, from my Valentine's said back in the day, they wanted to go new metal because that was the scene back then. They tried writing like, oh, we're going to be a new metal band. That's our branding. And they're going to do, they started writing the songs. And it just wasn't working. They're like, fuck it. We're just going to write songs we want to do. Yeah. And that's how Bullet for My Valentine came to be.
Actually, yeah, and oh my god, and just like the yawning,
Jesse
literally,
right there.
I will yawn when I'm playing music I don't want to play. Like I've jammed before where I was falling asleep on the drums because I just was not feeling the guitar riffs that were hitting my face, and it sucks because it's not me. It's not like they were bad. It's just I'm like not to be like an artist, but like I'm like I don't feel anything. Like I'm just like this is a cool riff. But me personally, I don't want to hit the drums. Like nothing's better as a drummer than when someone hits you with some music and you want to hit shit to it. Like I listen to something like, dude, like I've been sent riffs by some friends and stuff. I'm like, dude, let's like jam. Like especially when I was jamming a lot back in the day, where I'm like, I want to hit stuff. Like, let's go. Like, let's get behind the kit and start riffing. And that's so fun. And obviously there's like, you can't, the songs are not always going to do that because sometimes you need to build the song. And everything makes a song. Like I know that's what like more advanced bands and like music makers will do. It's like all the parts create the thing that makes you want to hit shit. But sometimes you have to have the foresight of what this can create, which I didn't because I'm a caveman, and why I'm in my attic and not in a band writing music.
Well, Wrist Meets Razor. Oh my god, I can't say the name. Wrist Meets Razor. Wrist Meet Razor. Fuck me. God
wrist
damn.
Wrist Meet Razor.
Yeah, no S. There's no S in it. Yeah, meat. The wrist meets the razor, but there's no S. So wrist meets razor.
Wrist meet razor.
Anyway, they have their shit together, unlike us. But Replica of Strange Love out June 11th on Prosthetic Records. I also recommend their other album as well. The one before the first debut album, Misery Never Forgets. It's only like a 20-minute listen, actually. It clocks in at 20:52. So it could go by real quick for you. So if you just want to put it on, you have a 20-minute ride somewhere, it's going on a 20-minute walk, whatever it is, you just run right through it. And I think the beauty of that is like once you listen to it, you just want to listen to it again right after.
Yeah. I will say though, imagine showing that to a friend who doesn't like it. And it's like, dude, 20 minutes will fly by, just like comes back 2 days later. Honestly, Chris, that was the longest 20 minutes of my life. It did not fly by. It felt like I was watching paint dry while listening to paint dry.
People say the same thing when you show them Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah, and they could fuck themselves over.
If people aren't into that type of like, really progressive metal and stuff that, they're just like, this is garbage. But I'm not into this.
Do like say the very mature answer. No, I'll say the immature answer. They're wrong. I'm right. BT Bam is dope. And so is Wrist Meet Razor. See, I nailed it first try. You suck. I should be the host. You should be the funny guy.
I don't know about that.
Anyways, we're back with the Military Bear Experience podcast. Here's my co-host, Chris. Hey, Chris. Yeah, there you go. Wrist Meet Razor. Nailed it again.
You know what I regret not asking him? They have a brand new single, right? It's called Last Tango in Paris. There's a 1972 movie called that as well. Really want to know if there was any correlation or why they decided to name it the same. Never got to ask him that. And now it's a lost cause. So anyway,
we're never going to talk to him again.
Yep. Shout out to Justin. Maybe we'll get him on the radio show like he wanted. We'll do that next time as well.
I felt bad about that.
Yeah. But again, you guys can catch us on all streaming platforms as well. If you're watching on YouTube right now, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, all the major podcast platforms. And my boy Jesse over here reacts to videos. Jesse, tell us more about your YouTube videos and where we can
Insid
find you.
on YouTube, youtube.com/c/Insid1, I think.
You remember?
Just look up Insid on YouTube. It should be like 5 down from the toppy top. And yeah, I do reactions. I got some cool things for drums, so hopefully drum covers in the future. If not, then I don't know. I'm gonna stop saying shit until I do it. But yeah, we can see. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. And then also with the podcast stuff, be sure to rate and review, and also leave comments on the YouTube. And we will try to. And if you got fan questions about, actually, that's not right. We're gonna figure that out. Just leave comments about what you like and dislike, and we'll figure out a platform where you can get fan questions, and we'll try to like tell you what guests and stuff.
Yeah, and if you ever feel like you think that a band should be on the show, you think, oh wow, I really would like you guys to have this guy, talk to him, whatever. You know, just shoot us. Like you can DM us on social media as well. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the major ones. So you can just anywhere
Also,
you can
Chris,
comment.
You have
we'll
an
see
email,
it.
right?
Yeah,
you have an email for the
experience
podcast.
at Gmail.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's on his YouTube. Email that. Do all that stuff. Contact us. Let us know. Even if it's bad, I'm not getting it, so it'll be him. He'll get hit with the negativity. Tell us why it sucks. Really be thorough. If it's me, I won't see it. So Chris will hopefully won't tell me.
Send it right to him. Forward it. The
This guy
guy
says, "Fuck your stupid face." Didn't want to see that. That's a terrible Tuesday.
Foley looking motherfucker.
Ah.
Yeah, we gotten that one before. But anyway, radio show Tuesday nights, 7 to 10 p.m. My boy Aram, he's on there as well. We talk about movies. I play interviews on there too. Not as long. They're like around anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. I actually got to talk to Miles Kennedy of Alter Bridge recently. So that was really cool. And that was for Vinylthon. So it's not really for my show. I just kind of conducted the interview for the station in Vinylthon. So
You said Vinylathon?
Vinylthon. So basically all college
Vinylthon.
Yeah, so like you have a vinyl and it's like a marathon. So basically what's happening at WMSC is that a bunch of college radio stations are getting in on it where they're only going to play vinyl records. And we have special guests on that recommend vinyl stuff and whatnot. And it's a lot of fun. So we had Miles Kennedy on of Alter Bridge, and he's also in Slash and the Conspirators, you know, and he has a solo album right now too. So anyway, he came on and dude, we asked him, Rick, what song do you want to play on the show? Guess what he said? I know it's really broad. It's a heavy band.
All music?
It's a very heavy band.
I'm gonna go with Casey Stray JFC.
Well, I mean, I guess not that heavy, but Gojira.
Okay. Oh, really? That's pretty dope.
Yeah, he's like, oh, play that new Gojira song, Amazonia. I was like, shit, okay. That's awesome.
Cool. Miles Kennedy's a gangster, dude.
He's so good.
Has
anyone ever heard him speak? Because while I was talking to him, I was like, you sound like Dave Mustaine, a younger version of Dave Mustaine. But they have like the same kind of accent. I don't know. Just
way better singer.
Well, yeah, I'm just talking about talking.
Way better.
I'm talking about talking.
Hello, me. It's me again. I'm just like, yeah.
Shit. Are you gonna shit on him like you did with Ozzy too?
No, we didn't. I didn't do that. No, well, that's the whole thing.
Clip.
Yeah, no, stop. Don't do that. No, well, Dave Mustaine wasn't known for being a good singer. He had attitude. It's like punk rock singing. Punk rock singers aren't good. They have their own voice, and that's what makes them good.
Jesse's trying to defend himself right now.
No, it's just true. Like Miles Kennedy's a way better singer. Like technique wise, he crushes. It's just whether you like Dave Mustaine or not doesn't make you wrong or right. But if your argument was Dave Mustaine is a better singer, no. You're wrong.
Your face is so white right now with the light on it.
Because God has my back.
I feel like as you move away, it gets brighter too. It's funny, but
I gotta block it. Yeah, no, dude, it's just true. Like but it's gotta focus on it. Yeah. Oh my god, I gotta get these lights better. But yeah, right. No, which is better. Yeah, great interview. Just dope to have that guy on. I wish I talked to him. He was cool as shit. He would. Yeah.
Next time he'll come on the podcast, right? When he's Alter Bridge. But okay, guys, until next time, thank you for tuning in. Check back next Thursday for a brand new episode. Peace. Keep it real.